Hello, I'm back. How is the audio? Is that good? I think that's good enough. Right, it's good. Everything under control. Right, where were we? I was just looking at this emulator. Latency is a huge problem in computing and a huge problem in video games. It's the problem that, well, not nobody talks about, but relatively few people talk about. And I think it becomes an issue with emulators. So I'm running this on the ACORN Atom emulator known as the Atomulator. Now look at the latency. I don't know if I've got, maybe I turn on, then you can hear it. So, when I crash, you hear that? So that kind of sort of raspberry sound there, that's the sound effect of crashing. Hi John, how you doing? And the problem is that the Atom just has a very simple sound thing. It has one line, like early PCs, one line connected to a speaker. So it's kind of interesting how you do audio. I suppose I could do an audio system with an interrupt driver, and then you can be more sophisticated. But right now I'm not using that. But the problem is, hey Mike, how you doing? The problem is lag, because this emulator, right, it's doing everything pretty well, and the lag in terms of, you know, the graphics is not too bad. But look at the lag in terms of the crash. I mean, that feels like about half a second. I can't reduce it. So at some point in the future, I might have to try hacking the Atomulator to reduce the lag, because that's just crazy. It's really sad. I wish they would focus on that, because, you know, games are so much better. I promise I will do a demonstration at some point in the future of what happens when you try to play Pong with a 100 millisecond lag. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, where did I get to on this game? I crashed into the letter C. Where did I get to this game? We now have letters, of course. They fly around in the bit of a manner of asteroids, hence the name of the game, letteroids. And you have to refuel your ship by collecting the letters in order. They have to be in order against a clock. And then you have these Greek letters, and the Greek letters are the enemies. There's nothing, there's no reason for it other than it's a different kind of letter. And to be honest, when I wrote the game, when I was when I was a teenager, it was a little shot at the stress of mathematics, where you know, they would always use alpha and beta and all this kind of stuff. And I can fly around, I can shoot the Greek letters. I can fly through them, which is, I need to fix. But I remember now doing this, that shooting was not easy. Shooting was not easy because ultimately you've only got 16 directions to go in. Hey, that's one more than you had on in kickoff. 16 directions to go in. It means you have to line up your shots, and that's part of the thing. So I can shoot the Greek letters, I can refuel, but they don't really they don't shoot at me yet, so I need to do that, and then I need to add a score, and still got quite a bit of work to do. Let me just catch up with the chat. Reinstalling Mac OS on the Mac Mini. Oh, did you give up on Windows, so you want to have it like able to switch between them? Just back from the Apple Store with a new MacBook. I'm watching on my phone. Oh, very nice. Late 2014 model, but still going strong. Yes. bring out our old tech. What am I going to work on next? Because I need something else to work on. The enemies need to shoot me. Okay. So we'll do some AI for shooting. But first of all, let's just see if I can do... At the moment, I'm doing ship shooting. Let me just check with that. Ship shooting. Oh, start from scratch. Okay, I get you. A repo online? Why would you want to have a go? That's a thought. Sorry, I have real life as well and work, so maybe we talked about something already and I've forgotten, so remind me. But would you like... You're interested in having the development environment available? It was yeah, shooting the enemy. So I shoot the enemies and they blow up, and I had to repurpose the explosion thing for that. If you're interested in the development environment, that sounds very interesting. Yes, I can do that. And then you can follow along. There's a thought. Why not? Yeah, okay. Well, let's do that. Let's do that. So in that case, just bear with me a moment. I tell you what, actually, I don't know how to set up a repository. I suppose we could use GitHub. I've never set up GitHub. I used to use Mercurial and repositoryhosting.com. I didn't use GitHub, but we could do that, I guess. Well, I tell you what, Mike, is it possible to transfer ownership of a GitHub, or does it have to be for the person who makes the GitHub? Because if it's possible to transfer the ownership, then you could set up the repository and then I could carry on doing this. Otherwise, I need to stop this in order to set up that. Look, there's an idea. Let me know. All right. So where were we? Where's my mouse cursor? We've got ship shooting, and I just want to just check, how do I actually... I don't have it in a function yet, so I need to do a similar thing with the explosion. I need to make a function for specifically for shooting, which is, you know, either the ship or the enemy. And then we need a flag to know whether the ship is who shipped it. Okay, I tell you what. Why don't you talk me through it? I mean, I know it's not that difficult, but when I'm trying to stream, that's a different matter. So if we go to yeah. Now it is free still, isn't it, on GitHub? They're not going to charge me anything, right? Actually, if you could transfer it, it would be better if you do that. I can't set up the GitHub right now. I can't set up the GitHub and stream. So otherwise, we do it for another time. So, because it's hard enough as it is, I'm there talking, potentially ranting, and then also trying to do assembly programming. Even the free ones are private. Okay, that's cool. Right, so what we want to do is fire shot, I'm going to call it. Fire a shot. And this is... I need to figure out how to what I pass into this, right? Now, in the code in general, when somebody is doing something, that somebody is going to be a sprite, so it's going to be in the X register. It's going to be a bit inconvenient if I use as a register to pass into this function X. So I'm going to use Y of, well, then I need to figure out yeah, okay, that'll be another function, the one to figure out the allocation of the available shots to the different enemies, because I can have more than one enemy. I'll just do a fire shot where you give it the index. So Y equals the index of shot. Now, the other thing is there's a ship. I just want to check something. Right. We need to do, there's num shots, which I want to increase to 4, so I can have 4 shots on the screen at the same time. Actually, before I do anything else, because I've just changed the number of shots I can have on the screen at the same time, I need to make sure that doesn't break anything. Fire shot. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's see if this, what have we got? So, all right. Yeah, that seems to be working fine. So what we're going to do then, I need to pull out of the this function, which is ship shooting, the stuff to fire a shot. Ship fire count. This bit here is, select one of 2 shots, which is all very well and good. There, and there, which, and then I've got in the accumulator a ship shot. Well, actually it's in fire count. I transferred that to X, or loaded it into X. That is going to be, in this case, it'll need to be Y, but I'll deal with that in a minute. Let me just change the structure first, and then I'll deal with that detail. So sprite shot index, sprite flag disable. So what's happening here is it's disabling something. Why is it? I don't understand. It looks like it's disabling. Oh no, it's the wrong way round. The sprite has a disable flag, so if the disable flag is set, it's disabled. So this is clear the disable flag. Just need to start adding comments. Clear disable flag. Oh. All right, that's cleared. And then we need to take the ship index. Right, this is the coordinate calculation. So, all right, nothing for it. I'm going to have to put this up here. So when firing the shot, I need to disable. I'm trying to think how I can do this in a way that it's testable in steps, but I guess I just have to go for it. That will set that. Now, I need to also know where the shot coordinates are going to be. It's all very well to say the index of the shot. Okay, then we're going to have to do this, I think. That's the index of the shot. $80 is where I'm going to store X coord of the shot. It's the parameters, because, you know, you've got to use global variables for everything. Y coord, it's obviously the most significant. $82 is going to be the direction. Just check chat. Evening, Dino. How do you check how much RAM CPU time you're using on the Atom? What I do is I write to the screen and then you get the noise appearing. if that makes sense. You get, so you can see where the lines are. I showed that in an earlier video. Mike, if you're not able to set the thing up, I will do it. But if you are able, that would be, then I can just do it sort of together. I can multitask if you do that. So that's the current deal, if that works for you. So we've got lots of icons now as well. Looks like you've made a lot of progress since I logged off last night. No, John, it's all good. You just trust in everything. Everything is the way it needs to be. Hi, Refly. Hi, Scott. Is Hal back online? I have plans for Hal, for a new Hal Mark II, but that's really very early days. But I was doing some experiments, and maybe it could be made to work. Maybe. With some help from something topical. Well, we'll see. We are the chosen. If you have a couple of minutes, I've got the repro made. Oh, wonderful. Right. Well, if you've got the repo made, just give me the details. I'll log in. I tell you what. Is there a way for you to message me personally? They don't have that on Google, do they? You don't have that. YouTube doesn't. Is there a way of sending somebody a message directly on YouTube? I guess not. But you've got my email, haven't you? Yeah, email. It says email, but it's like I've got my. Oh, that's coming. Oh, yes. So that's a future project. That's nice. Sorry. I've got my email open. So if you send me an email, and my email address is dndn1011, which is no surprise to anyone, @gmail.com. And so you can send it there, and we'll progress that, and then we can have people following along. How exciting! Right, I'll just multitasking here. YouTube has still a lot to learn. Yes, absolutely. Meanwhile, back on this ship shooting. So this was check the fire. Right, you know what? We have check fire button just pressed. Very important. You're going to see me starting to comment stuff because it's at a certain point here, kind of I'm going, huh? If it takes more than 10 seconds to figure out what a piece of code is, right? So check if fire button was pressed. I need to select one of two shots, which I've done there. This clears the disable flag, and we decided to X coordinate, Y coordinate, and the direction in there, which should hopefully be everything. Now this is where I'm calculate the start of the shot, which is the ship X coordinate, clear carry, add with carry 4, store it in shot index. Because I don't do that, to store it in the shot index belongs up here now and becomes load a $80, store a that. So then this has to be store a $80, right? If you're wondering why I start with 80, it's traditional. It doesn't interfere with the operating system. Not that I'm using the operating system. But anyway, so load a blah, 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 and store it, add with carry immediate 480. So that one I need to do the same thing here, which is adding 4 to the Y coordinates, and we store that in 81. and then I can take that and pop this up here, and then we need to load a $81 store A. I need to change that because that's not quite right as well, but let me finish this first. Then we need to load the ship direction. Now, when I said the direction, what do I mean by that? I mean a value between 0 and 16, 0 and 15. Thank you. Let me see. I have not received it yet. Did you send it to the right one? Right, we'll give it a few minutes. It should arrive. So right, so where was I? On there we have that stored in 8.1. I load the ship direction because that's going to shoot the shot in the same direction as the ship. We load it into A, we have to multiply it by 2. Ship direction. Well, it becomes 0 to 32 because I need more bytes. So I would say that ASL belongs up here as well. Ah, dear me. Load a $82 arithmetic shift left, and then we'll continue on from there. But what happens here then is the ship direction needs to be store a $82. Okay. We're going to have next still no sign of that email. Oh, there it is. I got the email. All right, this is Mike's email on there. Okay, with some instructions. Okay. So we can do this. Is to add remote origin, replacing it's when we have the permissions fixed. Okay, so let's see if we can transfer the repository over. That would be fantastic. I'm there at the moment. We'll see how that goes. All right, well, that's where I'm at. I've got it up on there, and I can see the repo. So, all right, where were we? Meanwhile, multitasking, we have the ship direction is stored in 8.2. Then this bit here is where I am using the ship direction and putting it into the 4 bytes that I need to specify the actual velocity, because the velocities can sometimes be less than 1. I need 2 bytes for each because of fixed point. And what's SSS1? I don't know where that's used. Not. All right, this code also belongs up here. So this becomes like that, except modified. We're going to need to do an RTS at the end there. So fire shot would be called when in here we do JSR fire shot, with 808. All right, and then the problem was the Y needs to be the index of the shot. Now, where did I calculate that? That was that, right? So I load Y with the ship fire count, which is actually the index of the shot Rooney in the Y register, and then we fire the shot. I think that should be okay, but I need to fix this now. when I go over my own, I'm, you're gonna make me self-conscious. Bobble, yeah. That's why, yeah, it's true. It's a little bit of a bobblehead look, isn't it? I mean, you have a little bit of a gnomey look. I could use him as a he could also do the neck, bobble thing, whatever. What do you think about that, Lenny? Bye bye. That was not very appropriate, was it? Bye bye. Honestly. Okay. Okay. Right. Let's fix Fireshot, which will be broken now. So I load the sprites with the index and there, blah blah. Clear the disable flag. And then this is git start coords, and but from to store a sprites to y, not x. I'm using y now. So I think that's good. Then we do load a $82, which is the direction. I shift it left to multiply it by 2 so that I've now got a number between 0 and 31, but they're all even. And so the even ones will be the low. Oh, right. It's 4 bytes. I need 4 bytes by direction. But I have them in a bit of a weird arrangement because of the way I construct the table. Anyway, I don't need... Right, I load from the directions table, and then I have to multiply it by 2 as well because I need it to be twice as fast. Ship velocity, which is another complication, times 2. Because if I don't fire the shot with twice the velocity of the ship, then when you fire the bullet, it just stays stuck to the ship, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, Mike, I agree. But what I tend to do is I tend to use names when I feel it's going to pay for itself. Part of the problem here is that when you start putting names on everything and you don't know what you're doing anymore, it's like you don't know where they are in memory, and so it's kind of a balance. I go a bit at a time. I agonize over that, to be honest. But if I don't, what I do is I say, if I haven't got a clear idea what to call a variable, then don't. Anyway, so where was I? Ship direction. So I've got to multiply the ship velocity by 2. So I load the direction back from 82 into arithmetic shift left. Load A. That doesn't make sense. Ah, right, transfer A to Y, but I don't want to transfer it to Y because I'm using Y. I need to transfer it to X to do this lookup because I still do. This is actually becoming the other way around. I load from the X. The 4 bytes are loaded from the X register, and they need to be saved into the Y register instead, or via the Y index. And then the last one there as well, that should be a Y. But this means that the X register is no longer preserved, and I really want to preserve the X registers. So I'm going to just do the lazy transfer X to A, push A, and at the end here we'll do, so it's pushing A on the stack, transfer pull A, transfer A to X. So we're preserving the X register. Yes, that's right, John. It's a balance. It's a balancing act. On the other hand, you can say that, Well, here's no, because you see, in the end, what happens then when you run out of memory is that you start reusing things in order to be able to squeeze everything together. So then you could have them all defined, but then how do you know if you've got a clash? It's tricky. So yeah, but it is a point of agony, I have to say. But I just go with the flow. So if I load 82 into the accumulator, arithmetic shift left, transfer A to X, I'm going to put spaces in between little chunks of code that have a meaning. Okay, right. So this meaning here is I'm putting into X the index multiplied by 2. I load the directions X, so this is the low byte of the X. I shift it left by 1, so it's multiply it by 2, and then I store it in the sprite's low velocity in the X byte, indexed by Y, where Y was the shot that Y is the index of the shot. Then I have to do a similar thing for the I have to do the similar thing for the second. So I do load the high byte on the X velocity, and then I do a roll, which is shifting it left 1 bit, but it's a roll, which means it pulls in the carry bit that was set by the arithmetic shift left. It's chaining 2 shifts together, so it's a 16-bit shift. So that bit of code here does load the appropriate 2-byte value out of the table and multiply it by 2 and store it into the shot. And we do the same thing with this one. And then I need to set the lifetime of the shot, and so that's done with the shot timer plus shot index, comma Y. Again, and then that's it. So in theory, this would work. It is. This is why I say that assembly programming is fantastic training. Now, I'd just like to point out that I did a huge, well, relatively big little refactor there, and look, it assembled first time. I still don't know why that is. Why is it that this assembled for... I was thinking about this today. I was working on in C++ in the Unreal Engine. And I was watching myself and thinking, you know, what about the workflow? And the problem is that with engines, you spend a lot of time waiting for it to compile or waiting for it to do stuff. The computer, it doesn't respond immediately. You saw how quickly I tested. I mean, I did this, right? And it was like, boom. And it's like, yep, that works. And I just carry on. Now imagine that you're doing that and you have to wait 30 seconds. It doesn't sound like much, but it breaks your flow. And, you know, look at that. It's assembly. It ran first time. I don't know if it works. I mean, that's the second point. I was just amazed that it didn't have any errors in it. Oh, no. Did it work first time? Can it be? Look at that. Oh, ho, 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 ho. I'm feeling a bit kind of smug there, I tell you. Look at that. I suppose I should make sure that I can shoot the enemy still. Shoot the enemy. I think that's pretty good. All right. Now that I've done that, I'm using my new Fireshot subroutine in order to do the shot of the ship. So next we're going to do the enemy shooting. Now, how am I going to do the enemy shooting? I think enemies only need to have one shot. I'm going to keep it really simple. And there can be up to 2 enemies. Enemy 1 has a shot. Enemy 2 has a shot. We don't get any cleverer than that. So I'm just going to take a moment to look at the GitHub situation. So do I have to join it? Am I, well, do I have to do anything to get this transfer-y thing done? Let me know. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do next. I can import the code, but we need to get the... Oh, right. No, I didn't follow instructions, Mike. I do beg your pardon. I see where the problem lies. You need my... All right, let me get that. Aha, guess what? It is DNDN1011. Okay, right. You joked about doing an 8-bit version of Kickoff last night. Do you think 50 FPS? Well, yeah, I would have to be. I wouldn't settle for anything less. Me. Okay, right. So where are we? Where are we now? I had that shot. We do the update shots. So this is the AI for the, not the shots. To do the update enemies, which will be in here somewhere. Fire shot, update ship. Update enemy. Where did I put that? There must be an update enemy somewhere. Chase ship. This is the enemy behavior here. I called it enemy behavior. That's why. So if we're doing a random shuffle or chase ship, that's different states for the thing. I want to find a nice place to... Oh, I already did it. This bit here would be the here of shoot at player. I already have that, I think. Let's just do jump halt to test that. So we get to that line of code. Should... Yeah, just halted there. Should we need to shoot at the player. So what I should be able to do then is go and set up the shooting, starting with the position load of the shot. Load a position of the sprite, the high byte not ship index, enemies index, comma X. So there we go. We have our high byte of the X, and we need to later do the high byte of the Y. We need to store this into $80, and then we can put in here, store it into $81. And all right, transferred ownership. You need to accept the repository. Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. You have unread notification. What's a notification? It's like a notification, but you really want to answer it. It's like, invitation to join Letteroids. Chink. Have I done that now? I clicked tick on it. Is that all I needed to do? Your repositories. I think I joined it. Let me know if I joined it, if that worked, okay? Maybe I'm being stupid in my multitasking, especially. So we do the loads, the player, X coordinate, Y coordinate. We need the direction, right? This is the interesting one. The direction needs to be chosen because the Greek letter doesn't have a direction. It can shoot any way it likes, like a turret. So what we'll do is hardwire it first, usual thing. We'll worry about how we calculate that later. I'm just going to give it always a direction of 0, which will be straight up, and then load A that and then store it in $82. Then we need to also load Y with the shots index immediate shots index +2. It's hardwired again, but this is the first enemy shot of 2. We'll worry about that later as well. I just want to get the basics working, and then we do the JSR fire shot. And what do we need X for here? We don't. X is preserved, and so it should be, because we're inside a loop with an X decrement X here. Shoot at player. Shoot at player. We shall see what happens. I imagine that weirdness will happen. I just cleared the notification. All right. I knew it would be dumb. It had a tick. It was a tick. It was a nice tick there. I thought I'd click the tick. My organisations. Letteroids. It's all right. I found it. Accept invitation. I am there now. Yes, I am there. Ball in your court. Kickoff 2 was released on a few 8-bit computers, so it is possible. Well, it was released on some 8-bit computers, but not by me. Who knows what they did? They were just told to do it by Anil Gupta, with no grumble, 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 boo, grumble. Running about 10 FPS, that's it. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sharuni. So what we have now is the let me just go back. So the question is, sorry, I'm to see if you can now copy and paste the instructions as I sent them and push the code to the repro. So what should I send it to? Let me just try this. I'm trying to set up the repro. Give me a moment and then we'll... So cdd, let me go to my git here, and then we go to atom, and then we've got into Letteroids 2, and then we should be able to do git. I presume I can do this without add origin. Okay, I see. We can do that dynamically on an existing repo, GitHub, and then I guess I do that. Okay, and then we do git branch m main, and then you see we do this, and then Mike can join in. Git branch m main, git push And now we'll get all kinds of... Oh. Permission to... You cannot read from remote... please make sure you have the correct access rights. That's the problem. Is like... I'm sending it to... Well, one thing is I'm sending it to dndn1011/letteroids.git. The other one is that I need to set up... I did this the other day because I was working with... I can't remember how I set up the permission. And I was working in the OBS repository. Okay, so that's my issue. I've got permission denied public key. Could not read from remote repository. I sent it to dndn 1011 letteroids. Maybe because replacing, I was following, yeah, because replacing dndn 1011 or whatever. I'm just trying to remember how I set that up. There's a... Oh, I looked it up to sort out the problem for working in the OBS repository. And I can't, right. Mike is on it, he'll help me with that, because, all right, I'll get back to the getting enemies to shoot. So, shoot at player. Shoot at player? Are we, maybe that, maybe that will do it. Oh no, target out of range. Okay, so this 332. Yeah, this will happen from time to time. There's not really much for it. You just have to do branch if minus, oh, come on, type EB 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I haven't used 8 yet. EB8. Otherwise, we do jump EB loop dot EB8, because if they try to do a conditional branch instruction is literally 2 bytes. The first byte is the opcode, and the second byte is an offset from where your program counter is. So there's a limit to how far you can jump, and I think it has to also be within a 256 byte block. So occasionally you try to set this up, the code gets bigger, and then a conditional branch doesn't work anymore, and then you have to jump around a jump, branch around a jump. So let's see if this, right. Okay, so I don't know if you observed the magic there that's going on. There's something a bit wrong. It's like that is the letter A. That letter A jumping around is actually a Greek letter that turned itself into a letter A, and now is randomly popping up and down instead of shooting shots. So that will be fun. That's the other thing that's surprising, is how often you get problems or bugs writing it in assembler and it's just weird behavior instead of crashing. You'd think it'd be the other way around, wouldn't you? I can try doing it the other way. It's just that, you know, that yeah. Let me try pushing it the other. It doesn't matter. It's to. I mean, technically this isn't open source. I haven't got any license for it. So this is just a agreement that you can join in on this one. But, you know, it's obviously still my copyright, as in the game, if that's okay. I mean, we could talk about what it means later, but I can't get out of old habits, sorry. Let me try. The remote origin already, that didn't work. It won't let me do that. Flipping heck. It's difficult because I want to have the fun of a collaboration, and then but I'm doing these things on the fly like this. The problem is I try to add that remote. I try to add your one, but it just says it already exists. The remote, or hang on a minute. Remote to okay, I'm stuck. I can't. I tried that, but it wouldn't let me. So I'll wait for the next piece of advice. Meanwhile, I need to debug this this code. What did I do wrong? When it's shooting at the player. Yeah, these are all temporary addresses in here. We know that Fireshot preserves the X register. It's a Fireshot. Load that. That. Fireshot. What am I missing? Loading it, not storing it. I'm doing something that changes the... No, I thought I saw it there. The shots index +2. Let's have a look at Fireshot again. Oh, wait a minute. I know what it is. It already takes into account the shots index. So I just being really silly. I don't do that. It's just 2, not back +2. Okay, I think I got it. Well, that's working. I was very close to getting that to work first time. They are shooting in a bit of a kind of a random way. I mean, I guess I need to put in some code so that it doesn't cancel, it doesn't fire while they're shooting. So I suppose I need to put a check in there. Do we already have a shot? Don't try to shoot again if a shot is already running. So my brain is getting pulled in multiple directions now. Focus. What is that? That was interesting. Did they shoot each other? Something got hit. I heard a sound effect. Something getting hit. Weird. If I want to shoot at the player, I need to check first of all, do I already have... This is, right, this will help. Shoot at player check. And then this is the actual shoot at player. I didn't see... Oh, that's great. Thank you. I didn't see a message. Okay. Writing an ACORN atom bomb is not allowed. You just did that for the pun, didn't you? As well, atom bomb. Actually be a good name for an Acorn Atom game. Go back in a time machine, you'll be rich. Yeah, Mike, I didn't see that message. If you have you could send me another email. Sorry for the hassle. Oh, I got new messages. I should have watched out for my emails. Up an atom. Up an atom. Oh, love it. Moving repository to... Oh, right. It's saying moving repository. Maybe I didn't accept. I think we're getting there. I missed those emails. Sorry about that. So the repository transfer email. And we'll get there. Space Invaders and Hangman. Oh, man. I can see my some work is going to be cut out with all these weird game variations of the future. Yeah, that's shooting, but what we need to do now is check, do we have a shot in flight is the important question for any self-respecting Greek letter. So to find that out, well, there is another complication. You can see that they're sharing the same shot, so we'll come back to that. I need them to use different shots. I suppose what I could do is transfer X to A, clear carry, add with carry, immediate to, transfer A to Y. So this is use enemy index +2 for the shot index, and now they should have one each now. Oh, I see. Direct chat. I'll send you what would be a good option. I have on here well, let me check your email. What was it? Yeah, you're on Gmail as well. Can I message you? We have this multitasking thing. Sorry, bear with me a moment. Sorry about this. I want to... Oh, there it is. Thank you. We can chat here. Wonderful. Accept a Rooney. Hi. Okay, we got... Mike can send me messages now. So that'll be good. We'll step forward. Do you see, though, that I am still making progress on the code? I don't know what keeps blowing up. That's a bit of a mystery. We'll come to that. But the two enemies now have got a shot each. So let me just try the command that I just got from... Okay. Set URL. Ah, right. Okay. Let me try something. I'm just checking something out on Git. I think I'm going to just have the same problem anyway with regards to the permissions. I need to set up, because you can't use password permission anymore. Mike DX. Trying to get in there, see what happens. Yeah, I still have the permission denied problem. So I'm using, I'm just using Git from the command line. I have to somehow set it up so that it is using the right key or whatever it was. And I did this for the, I did this for quiet. You're annoying me. I was doing that for the OBS thing. I just don't remember now how that worked. I need to do an SSH key. Yeah, I can't remember how to. Anyway, so back to the enemies thing, and if I turn that off, it'll probably be better. So I've got all right. If you could look up how to get the permissions to work from the command line on GitHub. There's a process that you have to do, and I've done it, so all I need is a nudge to remind me of it, and I should be able to do it. It's just that I can't remember off the top of my head. Just use GitHub website to create a repository. It won't let me log in. It won't let me use my own account. Okay, I'm getting overloaded now. So it's like, where were we? We were trying to deal with these enemies, and I need to now do the next bit. That's it, which is going to be. Do we have a shot in flight? So to check for that, oh, I'm overheating here. Let me get rid of that. Right, let's get the thing. Do we have a shot in flight? To know if we have a shot in flight, I need to look at the... I can just look to see whether the thing is enabled or not. Load a sprite flag, sprites. Sprites flags, comma, X, Y. The enemy index. Oh, I don't have that. Oh, that's interesting. I need to use this up here. So first of all, we calculate the index of the sprite that we want to use. We're going to load the sprite flags into the accumulator. We're going to AND it with media 8 to check if it's disabled. And if it is set, or it's branch if not equal, branch if it's clear, branch if equal, we don't shoot. So we just branch to the EB2, which is the same as here. So it they should hopefully let themselves finish their shots before they don't shoot at all. Okay, makes sense, Mike. We'll do that. But I do like the idea. We'll sort that out. But it'll be easier to sort it out off stream. Trying to do it at the same time, so cool. All right. So do we have a shot in flight? Doesn't work. Why? Load a sprite flags plus shot index. Let's try that. So hopefully now, it's good. It's all part of the testing. This is automated testing. They're shooting themselves. How's that? That's cute, isn't it? Well, let's watch that again. They seem to be shooting themselves repeatedly. It's like, here we are. They shoot up, perhaps around the screen, and eventually, there we go. Any moment now. Oh, okay. That's quite satisfying, actually. Yeah, but okay. What do we care that they can shoot themselves? This is an interesting question. I don't remember if the original game. I did the original. I know they could shoot each other, but could they shoot themselves? I'm going to leave it in. They can shoot themselves. It's like. And they can shoot each other. That works. But you may notice there's a slight technical issue here, which is they keep shooting even after they're dead. That's a bit odd. Why are they doing that? Oh, because the AI is running for the enemy, even if the enemy is dead. We better fix that. We need to fix that. Sprite-a-roonies, where are you? Sprite flags. Yeah, I didn't have that in there. I'm surprised. I forgot to put that in. So all we want to do is at the top of the loop, first thing we do is we load the sprites flags. Sprites flags plus enemies index comma x, and then we do and that with I did start. I mean, I know it's 8, but I actually did start to sprite flag disable. I started to actually put labels in, and so if you find that that is actually not equal, it means that it's set, and if it's set, we need to completely skip this one, which is all the way down to EB2. I'll be surprised if this jump is going to work, but we'll try. You might see them fly through the letters in the safe zone. You can fly through the letters if up here, if you're in the score. It's like a safe area where you're invulnerable, but you also won't be able to shoot. That was part of the original game as well. A target out of range. Well, there is another way that we can do this, which is instead is to use EB9. EB9, we can do an RTS. No, I can't do an RTS. Sorry. EB9, that was nonsense. Forget I said that. We're going to jump to whatever that was, which was EB2. They said, why is it they use such impenetrable names? It's because otherwise I'm going to be spending all day figuring out names. What is wrong with that? Okay, I had it reversed sense here, so it should be branch if equal over the jump. So they're shooting, and any minute now, one of them's going to kill the other or themselves. It's just any minute now. Oh, that was close. Oh, so close. And they've stopped firing, so that's good. Next, we need these shots to be going. That's annoying, isn't it? I'm getting sick and tired of that sound effect. I don't know. Anyway, if it's annoying, let me know. I'll deal with it. So, shooting. Shooting upwards at the moment. Shoot. Where's the direction? I set the direction to 0. This is the direction of the shot. So of course the first thing that you want to do is you can say just shoot at random. Okay, JSR rand next. Save X. That's useful. Yeah, I can do. So I tick over the random number generator, then I can load a byte, sort of random byte out, and then I need to AND it with 15, and I store it here, and so that's going to be pick a random direction. still one hit the other. It's really random. It's amazingly random. You've never seen such randomness before. It's just 2 directions. What did I do wrong? That's a bit perverse. Let's try that again. I only saw it should be picking any of 16 directions. Now I can't see anything wrong with the code. I mean, 15 is all the bottom 4 bits set. That just might be just the funky random number generator. Oh, at least we had something going in a diagonal there. Okay. What am I thinking here? For testing purposes, it's going to be, let's see, fire shot. I'm going to modify the fire shot function so that it's going to fire very short shots. Lifetime. I'm going to just sort of do, I don't know, 10 frames. And why? Because I want... What on earth? Why would it do that? That's not what I expected to happen. I don't know what killed that letter at the end. That was a bit weird. Let me try this is a bit okay. Right, I'm going to keep it like that and see why in a minute. I'm going to disable the shots hitting things. So I can just comment out that clear enemy, a kill enemy, I mean. And then I'm hoping that nothing dies anymore, except the ship hit the wrong letter. I'm using a pseudo-random number generator, but it doesn't seem to be behaving itself very well. So my intention at the moment is just to see about the shooting behavior without it blowing anything up. Because it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right at all. Let me put this back to... So what I do is I tick over the random number generator, which has a, you know, the next... It's a seed. It's got a seed in there. Hey, Kim! My word! Hello, Kim. How are you? That's ages. That is... We used to work with Kim. We were in the same education, IGAD. We taught there. And then I think you went to work in EA. You went to America, didn't you? If I remember rightly. And yeah, how are you doing? Yes, it should be one of 16. And the fire shot routine actually does the multiply by 2 internally. And I know that this routine works in that it shoots in the same direction as the ship, so I can try it in all directions. As in here is this thing. Oh, NVIDIA. Wow. That's exciting. Yeah, it'd be great to catch up. Tell me what happened. We can tell each other what happened. In the intervening years. What's the rand next save? I'm just checking this. Where did I put it? I think I have a file called system. Store X, load X, JSR rand next. And there is one of those linear congruential random number generatory thingies. Ah, yes, that's right, Refly. Fire shot. I'm a bit stumped there because, well, I know what I can do. One thing I can do is then change the rapidity of shooting, which was this check here. I can make it shoot more frequently. And look, I know that the random number generator is a poor random number generator. But that's really poor. I mean, it's never doing a diagonal and never shooting downwards. How odd. I mean, I can prove to you that it will shoot down because I can hardwire the thing. If I load a immediate 8, and they'll all be shooting downwards every time. They'll be shooting downwards every time. Now that is I know what's happening. Can you guess? Can you figure out what's happening? I need to get a drink. Okay. you could just think about that, and I'll be right back. Why? I know why. Oh, it's a hilarious one, that. Very funny. Oh, that's funny too. Mustn't forget I'm on a microphone here. I have a little lapel microphone. So you could have heard me filling my glass. You don't want that. Oh, right. Click this back on. As long as you remember to remove the mic before you go for a wee. Yes. That old little, I wasn't going for a wee, but that old little sixth sense sort of kicked in there and say, microphone, anyone? So we've got this weird thing is that you know that it can shoot downwards, and sometimes it tries to shoot downwards. Sometimes it succeeds in shooting downwards. What it's doing is it's colliding with itself. So it actually is firing the shots down, but they collide. It collides with itself, and when it does that, for some reason it's not actually killing itself. It's probably to do with there's a check for that, but it is stopping. I don't know, it doesn't quite make 100% sense, but you can see it's not firing downwards, and sometimes it just appears for a moment. It just happened there, just for a moment you see a little thing and it's hitting itself. In fact, actually thinking about it, because of the offset that I put in, maybe the offset's wrong. It's actually coming from the top left of the sprite. So if it's shooting upwards, it'll work. If it's shooting to the left, it'll work. And it seems sometimes if shooting right, it will work. It also depends on the movement. Then we were looking at it, we were never seeing it shoot down. And possible reason for that is an interplay between the random number generator moment when it actually decides to fire. Then it rolls the random number again for the direction to shoot, and because it's not the world's best random number generator, it can actually be that there's a kind of interaction between the two that can result in it never firing downwards. How's that? Now I've got to just figure out why. But this is a great example of the value of just going and saying, okay, I'm not seeing any shoot. Yeah, sometimes it misses itself. It's not 100%, but it's enough to confuse. But there should be loads, but just to put in perspective, they should be firing down really rapidly. So it's only very occasionally it succeeds in firing down. And so this was by, again, it's just going there and saying, it's not shooting down. Let's try shooting down. Because I was making the assumption it was the random number generator. No, it's just it can't shoot down. And when it fails, then it resets and tries again immediately. So it looks like it, yeah, you get the idea. Anyway, why? That is an issue with the fire shot, the shooting shots code, update shots. Right, so what we need to do is, I've got here do not collide for n frames, which is set for the lifetime -5. And it says branch of carry set SU3. So the carry flag will be set if the shot timer, which is decremented every frame. Yeah, I think that's correct. Then it becomes yeah, this branch SU3, which just moves on to the next one. That's really weird. So this is definitely working incorrectly. Well, what we can do is see what happens if we disable collision detection in the shots. Easiest way to do that is just do here a jump dot SU3. So, right, I disabled, there you are, there's proof. I disabled the collision detection on the shots, and now they're firing fine. I'm going to leave that in there just for a minute and change the code of the shot direction again. Fire shot. Come up before here. Let's get rid of the hardwire down, and they should be firing in all directions. It's still not right. Flippin' heck. We seem to have colliding groundhog bugs. There was more than one issue at the same time. Why don't I have any diagonal shots? I mean, this one can't be because of collisions. I turned them off. What am I missing? It's not. And 0. Yes, I know. I saw some diagonals too. It might be just the really bad random number generator. There should be diagonals, and there should be sub-diagonals. Well, look, there I AND it with 0, and the result is that direction. Now, if I AND it with 1, we should get 2 directions. There's a clue here as to what the problem is. Do you see that sometimes it shoots and sometimes it doesn't? The times that it doesn't was when that bit was set to 1. Let's hardwire it. Because if you're wondering what's going on here, I'm basically loading an 8-bit number into the accumulator and then ANDing with 1 so that I'm retaining only the least significant bit, which means there'd be 2 kinds of directions, either 0 or 1. I'm seeing 0, but I'm seeing pauses, which I think are an invisible 1. Very odd. What I'm going to do is back to the hard wiring. Let's just, because it doesn't make sense. You need to actually, you know what I was saying about the direction? That wasn't true. There's a bit of delay because of the shooting. Let's hardwire 1. Okay, now we're hardwiring 1. Is the random number generator that bad? I tell you what. Let's have a look at the random number generator. Load accumulator has really got me annoyed here. Load accumulator rand store a $8800. So some high tech debugging here. The random number generator has 3 bytes. Let's write the 3 bytes, the random number generator, into memory. I'm looking at those. You can see the 3 bytes there, and what's interesting is that the least 2 significant bits of the top byte are always 0, which would correspond to us seeing only those directions. Insert sitcom laughing track here. Why? That's freaky. I heard one playing in my head when you said that. I'm looking forward to watching the whole of MASH again. Although the last time I watched it, I was a teenager. But in order to watch it without the laughing track, I had to find a complete box set off eBay or Amazon or something. Don't want that nasty laughing track. The random number generator is so bad that the first 2 bits are always 0. Yes, I could. And I think I thought I had. You're right. That's a good idea. I'll do that, Mike. It's I thought I had done that. Fire shot. Where are we doing the fire shot? Here, this fire shot. No, I didn't. I forgot to do that. Well, that's easy. Clear carry. Add with carry immediate 4. Clear carry. Add with carry immediate 4. Let's try that again. So that's a bit better. It's coming from the center. But the random number generator has still always got 0s for the first 2 bits. So let's have a look at my random number generator again. We do the ran next, and we look and we see that ran next. I run the random loop 10 times because one time was really, really bad. But the problem is that running it 10 times, when you're using something like a linear concurrential random number generator, which basically is a kind of formula that mysteriously maps every pattern of a number of bits to another pattern within the sequence, but in a kind of hashed manner. So it will go through eventually all the different combinations in a manner that appears sort of random. The problem with them is that they actually do have mathematical patterns in them, and then that can interact with something like roll it 10 times. And so I think that's the problem, is that I need to, and I didn't notice this before. So what's the rule of thumb? When you get something like that, pick a prime number. So we will do it 11 times. I suspect we'll start seeing bit 1. No, if I still don't see any bit 1, I don't like that. I'm going to go, let's try 1 time. There might be something else going on here. I'm beginning to... I do it once. And look at that. I am having low bits set. So there's probably some magic number that works for this thing. I'm basically now looking at the bit patterns and thinking, that's not very random. How about 4? It's very technical, this. It's very, very scientific approach, really. 4. What did I do? So branch if not equal. So it's 4. Yeah, it is. So run it 4 times. 4 looks pretty random. What would happen if I did 5? 5 looks less random. So let's stick with 4. And the great thing with that is then you can twiddle with that number to change the feel of your game later. Let's see if on my fire shot now they're going to fire in different directions. Ho, ho, ho. Oh, right, yep. I forgot to mask the bits off, so basically it's going out of range and creating all kinds of weird... Yes, you can. You can indeed do that. And that can be very interesting, especially if you mess with the random number generator according to the input. I mean, even Kickoff had a random number generator in it, but when you take certain actions, it would cause the random number generator to be called. Even your movement would affect when and how they would be called, so you would influence the random number generator. But when you've got a bad random number generator and you tie it directly to the input of the player, you get weird stuff that you'll get a pattern. It's like you're hashing the input. So a thing you might be worth trying one day is you hash the input of the player to create some behavior that is not entirely predictable but is repeatable, if you know what I mean. Yes. So isn't that interesting? You're now firing in all directions. That looks right. I mean, it's literally to do with how many times when I do a random number, how many times I call the random number algorithm. If I call it 4 times, I get pretty much, it looks like I'm getting all the directions, more or less. Now if I do 10 times, and that's the problem with those problem. I can't afford to do an expensive random number generator. Okay, so that's fine. We will look for, we'll get rid of the debug code here, displaying that random number generator. We need to go and set the fire shot up wherever that was, which is here, to shoot the proper lifetime. Let's see how that works. That's fine. Now, one of the issues that you're going to have with that is that it's totally random and so it doesn't look very intelligent. So now we need to put the intelligence in. So the intelligence is, it already has a way, we already have a way of calculating the direction from the enemy to the ship. So it can fire at the ship. So that's what I'm going to try now. Fire at the ship. And where's the other fire shot in here? And for the chase ship was the thing. Calc direction. When you calculate the direction when firing at the ship. The thing is, I don't want to repeat myself here. And where does calc direction store its result anyway? I can't remember now. 80, 81, 82, 83, and the output goes to the output's returned in A. So sorry, just bear with me a minute. Right. Fire shot. My daughter was just giving me an update on how it went on her play. We were performing yesterday and tonight, and I'll be seeing the play on Saturday. It'll be very interesting, looking forward to that. So the directions, we have plenty of shooting, and I forgot what I was going to work on. Shot lifetime. Hey, Refly, thanks for tuning in. Take care. Have a good night. The ship shot lifetime we set up, and it was shooting at the enemy. That was it. And the problem is shooting at the enemy requires calculation of where the enemy is. And I was puzzling over not repeating code. So if I was wondering if I should wrap this up a bit. Well, update enemies, where'd you go? Enemy behavior. In the chase ship function, we've got chase ship behavior has exactly the same code in it that I need for. So let's just do enemy. I can't type all of a sudden. It's because I looked at the keyboard and my B. These keys, my B and M, N and M keys, I've worn them out. So if I look at the keyboard, it's like, which one was which? I should probably start working with completely blank keyboards, frankly. Enemy direction to ship. And we're going to move the code for the calculate the direction to the ship which is more or less that code. Which code? Enemy direction to ship. So we get the enemy direction to ship, and I can pop this in here, and we are now looking at the yeah, I'm tempted to do that. I'm not quite at that level, to be honest. But yes, it's freaky when someone does that to you, to be fair. It's okay, you carry on talking to me. I'm just flushing my output buffer. Enemy direction to ship. Load a. So what do we need to have here? X is the enemy index. We can. I'm just checking what else I need. Nothing else. That's fine. It's pretty straightforward. I just need to put the enemy's index, and it's going to do the calculation. That's good enough for now. So enemy direction to ship was called here. Let's see if this still works. If we do the chase ship every time, EB3, I'm just going to force jump EB3. The enemies will chase the ship relentlessly. Value not defined, line 288. Jump dot EB3. Let's try again. All right. No. They're not doing a very good impression of chasing the ship, are they? Ah. I need it to always chase the ship. Temporary label. Let's try that again. Got some garbage on the screen for some reason. And they're not chasing the ship either. That's a bit annoying. Foo. Arithmetic shift left track. Yeah. I don't know why that's. And we have garbage on the screen. There's all hell's breaking loose. Branch if not equal dot EB3. Let's comment out those lines of code and jump dot EB3. I don't understand why. When firing, it's that. Got some screen corruption when the letter is firing by doing that. I don't know exactly what went wrong there. I didn't change any of this. Oh. Jump EB7, what's it going to do? It's going to jump from one function to another function. This is a big no-no. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that at all. Interestingly, EB6, it does the same thing. It then jumps back. I mean, it's horrific. EB6 doesn't exist anymore, and that's because I copied too much code. This here is state machine stuff. That would come in where I calculate enemy direction ship would be here. So this check here was checking to see if I should change the state to the other state. As at the moment there are two behaviors. One is a random jiggle and the other was chase the enemy. That makes more sense. Enemy direction to ship, very simple thing. Okay, let's see if that works. We'll try the same test that I was trying before, which is that every time it's going to jump straight to EB3 to chase the ship. Are they yes, you can see they are actually chasing me. I mean, they're moving slowly, but they are moving towards me. Right. And now I have a function. I can get the direction to the enemy ship. I can use that when the enemy shoots. We need to do shoot at player. Whereas the direction was random, we now do JSR enemy ship, and what I get back is a value from 0 to 15, and I store it. So at the moment this is shoot at enemy, and now they should shoot at me all the time. You can see where I died. They are still trying to shoot me. So let's try this again. Ooh, vicious things shooting at me. This is definitely bringing back the vibes of 40 years ago. But you see, it's not particularly intelligent. I mean, if I'm... Do you see how I can fly around all day like this and then probably never shoot me? Because they're shooting at me. You're just shooting at me all the time. And that's it. It's like, good luck. Good luck trying to shoot me. So herein lies the lesson. We've got AI. Give them heat seekers. Oh, you want me to give them heat seekers? I could do that. I'll save that for the next version of the game. What did I miss here? How do the enemies work out the vector to your current position? Oh, this was the subject of a very long, and grueling session. I did it live, but maybe you weren't there that day, Mike. So, yes, because what you're thinking is, how the hell can I calculate a direction vector when I don't have any, you know, math? So that's this piece of code. And I basically have 15 or 16 angles. And so the calculate direction works out the direction between two vectors. You pass in the first pair of x and y and the second pair of x and y. No, you can't use trigonometry to work it out, you know. So the way that it works it out is, well, you know that I'm using, instead of using 8 directions, I'm using 16. And I do the 16 by using basically two moves in one direction, then one in the other. So you do 2 and 1. So it's that stagger like that, which is approximately 30 degrees. And I use that to split the 8 directions into 16. It's a little uneven. It's not a totally even split into 16, but good enough. The ship movements are doing that. These shots are doing that. Everything's doing that. So what I then need to do is to be able to work out a number between 0 and 15 dependent on the direction. And I did this same technique that I used in the original game. What you do is you do a lot of if statements. So this code here is the code that does the calculation, and yes, exactly 0 1 2 1 1 1 1 2 exactly. And that the origin of this is because I didn't know how to do fixed point 40 years ago. This was a thing that was a huge concern for me, because I used to look at video games and I would see that they all had 8 directions. And it's like you move 1 pixel to the left, 1 pixel up, diagonally move to the left and up, you know, and you get 8 directions. And I was going, oh, we need more than 8 directions. So for this game, I wanted more than 8 directions. I brute forced a solution of 16 directions by by doing that. But you can have an infinite number of directions when you realize you can use fixed point. And I was sitting in a do stop me if I've told this story 75 times already, but I was sitting in the chemistry lab at in a class at school, and this was going over and over in my mind, and suddenly I saw the light. This was when I was doing BBC Micro. I moved on from the ACORN Atom, so I never did fixed point on the ACORN Atom. I did it on the BBC Micro. But I was like going, why don't you use a higher resolution in your number system than you have pixels on the screen? And it was like, oh, that's so obvious. So you can have 256 subpixels, and that's what I called them, subpixels. And so that will allow you to move slower than 1 pixel per frame, and so therefore you'd be able to move in any direction. But in fact, that's fixed point. So for those of you who don't know what fixed point is, you just make the number, you work on integers, but you scale the integers up. So you say everything's 256 times bigger, and that then allows you to do the sub-pixel movement. And what you have to do is do everything like that, and at the end you only take the big part, you know, you cast off the fractional part and you just leave the pixels when you draw to the screen. And it's so obvious when you think about it, but I had to, there wasn't anybody to ask. I didn't have anyone to ask. How do we do that? Had to work it out. That was exciting, working that out. But that was fixed point. So I'm using fixed point now. I'm not doing this code because I want to extend this game later. So that's different from the original code. So you disassembled combat for the 2600 and you're trying to add fundamental AI. Right. What you have just described is similar to something we did in the 90s using ints for floats, where you have a resolution value multiple of 10 so you can move shorter intervals. Yes, exactly. You scale it up. It is actually fixed point. So if you do a multiplication by 10, you are in effect doing a base 10 fixed point. But when you're running it actually is better to do by a multiple of 2. So in the case of this fixed point, it's 8.8. So there's 8 dots for the integer part and 8 bits for the integer part and 8 bits for the fractional part. So you can specify a position and velocity down to 256th of a pixel. And it's relatively cheap. I mean, it's probably cheaper than doing it any other way. And all those computers back then, they didn't have floating point units. This didn't, obviously, nor did the BBC Micro, unless you paid for one. But you had added one. You could add a floating point processor, but without the floating point processor, yeah, you just have integers. The 68,000 did have a divide and multiply instruction, so that was a luxury. But the principle's the same, and on the 68,000 I would use 16.16, so there's much more precision, and that allowed better calculations on. But if I was to try and do a football game on an 8-bit machine, I would have to use 8.8. It wouldn't look. It'd be interesting to see how far it could be taken, but I don't know if I'm up for that. That would be quite a journey. I'm just saying I'll catch up with the chat, but I just saw John is leaving. See you all tomorrow. Thanks for another fascinating video. Suspect I'll be dreaming about Hagman Space Invaders. Let's keep those weird game ideas rolling, so that we can, we can push the boundaries of video game development, and rock on like it's 1980 again. Take care, John. So yes, Bad Coffee. Hello, Bad Coffee. I like that name. That's very good. How many? I'm actually. Can you believe I'm counting how many nibbles are in the Bad Coffee? Yeah, it's great, especially if you're hungry and you want to go out for a bite. Bad Coffee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. I so much wanted it to be 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 9. That's I like it. I think it's great. I am saying though that there is a bit of me that's saying, okay, if you've gone to 9 nibbles, if you had 8 nibbles, you could keep it in 4 bytes, but that was still good for a 32-bit architecture. But that extra nibble for the B, now you're 64-bit architecture and you're wasting a lot of bits. It's sad. That's the way my brain works. I'm sorry. Good to see you. Oh, I read all that. I didn't see that. Hi. Hi, Giuseppe. Okay, it's a colleague from Splash. I read the most important bit last. Forgive my silly joke about 64-bit. How you doing? It's not so obvious to twig. It's not so obvious. But there's something else as well. It's that there are so many interconnected ideas that exist that people don't connect anymore. It's part of that concern that I have about, like the moths of programming and so on. Sub-pixel resolution is in effect the same thing as fixed point. But anyway, yeah. On the Beeb with fixed point, you would on the bead with fixed point, you would scale up for greater than 256 pixels wide? That's a really good question, Alan. I don't remember. I remember the agony. By that I mean the agony of the extra bit, which is ironic because it's exactly the same thing that I was joking about the 9. Talk about synchronicity. The joke I was just doing about bad coffee and the fact that there's an extra nibble. See, what Alan's referring to is that the width of the screen on the BBC Micro was wider than this. This is 256 pixels wide, which is a lovely amount to have it, you know, wide. It's like it fits into one bite. But the BBC Micro had 320 pixels across, so that doesn't fit into a bite. And so, yeah, if I did, I would need 3 bytes. I actually don't remember how I handled that. It's possible I used... Yes, I must have. I must have used... instead of 8.8, I must have used 9.7. That would be the sensible way around that problem. If you do by that, you know, use 9 pixels for the integer part and 7 for the 7 bits. 9 bits for the integer part, 7 bits for the fractional part. We need 9.7. Oh, right. You wanted it to be 8.2, but the username was taken. That must have been a sad moment. What it would be in Italian? Bad coffee in Italian. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. I don't know. Caffè schifoso. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Anyway, digression over for a minute. What was I even doing? It's shooting at the enemy. Right. So this is where I was at, where I lost the plot. There is that the ship is being shot at by the enemies in just a kind of obvious way. Killed me there, and it killed me there, which was my fault because I crossed the path. See, but really they're not going to shoot me very often. And what are they doing? They're shooting at me, and this is a classic problem. So what I had to solve here was, how do I make it like harder on there, because it's a joke right now. And so what I came up with is the following. If I remember, I'm doing this from memory. I have to pick the best direction and then randomize between that and the 2 neighbors. The effect is quite dramatic. And this was my first lesson in the value of using random numbers in AI. So we'll see if it works. What I do is I still have my random number call there. I'm going to leave that in. So we do enemy direction to ship. I've now got that in the accumulator. What I need to do is add, I can clear the carry flag, add with carry rand. So what I'm doing is adding a random dead cafe. Dead code, of course, but for decaf bad. I like it. Oh, it's all coming out. Decaf bad. Oh. Was this a commentary on your move to the UK at all? You can find good coffee here. No. You can. If you find an Italian bar, you can get good coffee. Always go there. I don't know why. I don't know how they do it. The coffee is just always great. Enemy direction to ship. Add with carry rand. And the thing is, that's not really, that's just scrambled the whole direction. No, I need to create a number between what? -1 and 1. And you take these things for granted these days, don't you? But how do I create a random number between -1 and 1? And you see, immediately you're going, okay, tell you what, I need to remember where this is as well. So I had the enemy ship direction. Maybe I'll do the no, that won't work. Maybe I could use a random. Have I got? Yeah, I'll use a 0-page address. So what I'll do is I will store the result in $84, right? So that I can pull this back. And now I need to figure out my random number that I want between 0, -1 and 1. If I'm going to pick the 3. And you can carry on like this. And yeah, you probably should. So all I'm going to do is load a random. I was thinking of other alternatives. I can AND this with 3. What have I done now? I've created a random number between 0 and 3 by keeping the bottom 2 bits only. And then I can do set with carry, and I suppose I can. So, but you know what? The problem with this is I want it -1 or 1 or 0, but this is 4 numbers. So what you do, I don't know if this is how, it'd be interesting to decompile the code to see how I did it originally. But what I'm going to try here is a little risky. I'm going to use EB10 now. Right, and because I have saved the direction which I found, I can do the rand save next, and 3, branch if equal .eb10. So basically it'll keep rolling until it gets something that's not 0. Now the probability is that it won't lock up. Although from what we saw before, when the random number generator was not producing certain values, this is not entirely a given. But I'm going to try this, and we'll see. I mean, it'll probably be all right. I mean, theoretically, it could get stuck forever over the random number, but it isn't really random, so it won't get stuck. Anyway, now I have a number which is either 1, 2, or 3. So if I subtract 2 away from that, set carry, subtract SBC, please, thank you. Subtract 2 away from there, I now have a number between -1 and 1, which I then do a clear carry, because I'm about to do an add with carry the number that I save from the direction. And so what have I done now? I have saved the direction of the ship. I have rolled a random number. I have masked off the bottom 2 bits. I've checked to see if it's 0. If it's 0, I will try again. So now I've got a number that's either 1, 2, or 3. I subtract 2 from it and add the direction which I'd got. And so it either subtracts or adds 1 to my direction, but I need it to wrap around because it's a number between 0 and 15. So for example, if I'm at 0 and I subtract 1, I will need 15, direction 15. This is all handled simply by masking bits, $15 or $F or 15, mask the bits, fire the shot, and that's it. It's funny, people say about how assembly code is really difficult, and it's true, but in a way, it's amazing how much you can do with just a few bytes when you're writing in assembly. It's like, this is you know, that isn't a lot of code there to do what I just said. But anyway, let's see if it works. And it would be fantastic if this worked first time, right? It doesn't. For some reason, they're not shooting at me anymore. They're just shooting upwards. If you want good coffee here, you have to go to an Italian cafe and ask for coffee. But say you don't want any of the muck they give to the locals. You want the stuff they make. You could always go in and ask for coffee the way that you indicate that you're not a tourist, if so to speak. Let's say, un caffè più piacere. You could say più piacere, but that's like clumsy. But yeah, that would be please. I can't even say it anymore, because I'm thinking about it. I'm also intertwining Italian with English, which is always a bit of a nightmare. But un caffè. You could just say that, un caffè. Don't ask for an espresso. If you say an espresso, you're basically walking around with a sign over your head saying, just ask for a coffee, un caffè. That would be the way. How did we get to that? I don't know. Re-roll, Alan. Yes, re-roll on a 0. Exactly. And if both bits were 0, we don't want that. So it's, yeah, exactly. Then subtract 2. Imagine that code in .NET. Just EB10 to EB2 would compile about 4 megabytes. Yes, that you're reading my mind there. Grazie Giuseppe. È una cosa che mio italiano non è vorrebbe avere italiano meglio, perché si vede che quando c'è bisogno di usare la grammatica, si vede immediatamente che io sono inglese più di italiano. I was talking about grammar. Italian grammar is just a disaster. So it's the most frustrating thing, because I've tried to figure out what the grammar is for something I want to say. But anyway, thank you for the compliment. Even though, anyway, I've seen it in the local cafe. They served the locals. They served instant coffee. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Oh. If you went and you said un caffè più piacere, they wouldn't do that. Could you also approximate the random number with ranges of about 256 divided by 3? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You see, I said I would have liked to have learned Italian better when I was young. I would have liked to have learned to speak Italian better when I was young. Okay? That statement in English, I would have liked, even then I had to think a little bit, right? Right, okay. Try and say that. It's a challenge for you, Giuseppe. How do you say that in Italian? I would have liked. Vorrebbe, I don't know. And there's also a lot of tenses which are old-fashioned and aren't used anymore as well. Italian grammar is definitely not a risk. You can say that again. Italian grammar, yes. Go on, how would you say that? I would have liked to have learned Italian better when I was young. And once you've done that one, then we could do my favourite tense, which is I think the future perfect or something. I don't know what it's called, but it's the one where you talk about the past, but from the point of view of the future. In 10 years, I will have been, it's sort of, in 10 years, I will have been in the UK for 15 years. I will have been. It's like, I ask people that, they don't, even Italians don't have to think about that one quite a bit. Here it comes. Are we all ready? We're ready for this. See if I can pronounce it. Mi sarebbe piaciuto imparare meglio l'italiano quando ero giovane. And, that's lovely. Isn't that nice? It's a lovely language. Mi sarebbe piaciuto Mi sarebbe piaciuto imparare meglio l'italiano quando ero giovane. It's so poetic. It's at the end. Quando ero giovane. And it makes total sense. I understand that, absolutely. But I wouldn't be able to say it. Thank you very much for that. Yes, may put a smile on my face. So where were we? I was trying to debug why the shoot at player was not working. How do we debug it without a debugger? Well, first of all, we simplify. So we store in 8.4, we AND with 0, then this will always be 0. So we just comment that out. And so no, that's wrong. Not going to do that. We keep that the same, but here I load a immediate 2. Right, so then it's going to subtract 2, then it's going to be 0. It's going to add it to 8.4. It's going to AND the thing. It's going to fire the shot. What am I missing? Oh, I know why. It was a simpler problem. Fire shot. I need the ship direction in 8.2. I didn't save the ship direction in 8.2. It's not going to be any good, is it? Then I can do this. I don't need 8.4. I can store the ship direction in 8.2 directly because I need it in 8.2 in the end anyway. Then I calculate the offset. I add it to 8.2. I have to AND it with 15, and then I have to store it back in 8.2. All right, I think I fixed it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a crash. This is just a hard crash. It's just gone, boom, or locked up. Of course, my first thought here is, yeah, it's locked up, hasn't it? I bet you it's locked up in that loop. You know, the one that you said it probably will never lock up. It's actually crashed. That's rare, isn't it? What do I do now? Well, I backtrack. I think it's the safest thing to do. It's stuck in EB10. You say, is this the voting? It's stuck here. No, it can't be. Can it? It can't be. It's that's the thing. It would be impossible if I only called the random number generator once, because then it will eventually, it has to unblock. But yeah, that's cheating. You're saying use the debugger. Oh, that's cheating. All right. Last time, look, every time I try to use the debugger, something bad happens. Oh. It is broken it immediately, and I see roll F1. And what does that mean? What does that tell you? It's the roll instruction of F1, where F1 is one of the bytes of the random number generator. So yes, it does look like the unthinkable has happened, and it's the unthinkable. And now I remember how I solved this problem, trying to keep things as efficient as possible. You'll like this. Not a lot. But let me just catch up on the 5 EB10. Can you break the debug? I would say the debug hit debug, but last time you had... Now, I removed the and 0. I think I did. We'll just see. Where was it? Shoot at player. Right. I thought I had removed the and 0. I hadn't. So there we are. Haha. It was just driver error. Yes. I need to check the code visually again now. Let's just get rid of the debugger. Oh, see? You get rid of the debugger and look what happens. You're buggered. And now I have to go find the flipping atomulator again, because I closed the... It's a peculiarity of the thing. You close the debugger, it closes the application. I don't know why. And that's a very small thing. We need to make this a bit bigger. About there, I think will do. You warned me. Yeah, I always sort of... It's all gone wrong. It's chaos. So I need to reread the code now. Right, so what I'm going to do is I calculate the direction to the enemy and I store it in 8.2, and then I jump to the random number generator, and then I load a byte and I and 2. What the frack is that? That's not right. It's and 3, Dino. Right, so then that gives me a number between 0 and 3, and then if it's 0, it re-rolls it. Now, there is an alternative which is safer, but I'm just going to be dogmatic. No, I'm going to be like a dog with a bone. That's the exact opposite of dogmatic. But the alternative would be to simply not try to fire a shot if it was one of those. And that's if it was the, 0. And I think that's probably how I would have done it in the original. But I'm going to leave it like that. And 3. And then I set the carry flag. I subtract 2, clear the carry flag. I add the original direction. I add the direction. I store it. I fire the shot. OK, let's try again. Yeah, let's try not dying immediately. Ooh, look at that. They're definitely firing at me. Who needs a debugger when you can poke bytes the screen? Exactly. I can tell you, I can't tell you, I can tell you, I can't, how many times in development I end up in the situation where I'm saying, in this project or that project or whatever it is, I just want to put some text up on the screen. And then, one day later, I want to put text up on the screen. It's just like, it's so useful. So on one project using Unity, any attempt to put text on the screen wouldn't work because there was something wrong with the fonts. Or it's like in order to put text on the screen through the normal way, you need to go through a labyrinth of object-orientated tangle of God knows what, and then you put it up and then it appears but it's behind something, or it appears and there's upside down, or whatever, you know. And it's just so, what I do now is I as long as I've got a line drawing routine, I draw characters out of vector lines, because you know that's going to work. So and it's actually have the code for that. I put on my website somewhere. I know it's still there, for Unity, for displaying an alphabet using these things. You eventually rented a proper step-by-step debugger, and yeah, but it's the thing is, I hate debuggers. They never work. But I'm a bit burned by them. Actually, they've got better a bit, but I am very distrusting of debuggers. And if you're saying, these days, look, working on a Kickoff Revival, one of the problems I had was that the debugger would lie. I mean, it literally lie. It would be there and it would say, this value is true. I go, okay, this value is true. Then why is this behaving as though the value is false? And so after scratching my head over this and going down the wrong rabbit hole, and then you go and you put a print statement in, and the debugger says it is false. The print statement says it is true. And that's horror. That's horror. I prefer not to have a debugger at all than have that happen. Have the debugger lie to you. Flippin' heck. Anyway, look, it's shooting at me. Well, it was shooting at me. Is it now shooting at me in a random way? It should be. Right, let's pay attention and see if this worked. Let's pay attention. It's me who should be paying attention. This should now be firing at me with a random selection of shots instead. And I'm not sure that it's exactly working, to be honest. It's almost convincing. I think it's working. Having said all of that, I need to, full disclosure, I did, when I was building for the, was Dino Dini Soccer, which should have been Goal. It was Goal on the Mega Drive. I did have an EEPROM emulator. I've still got the EEPROM emulator. It was very expensive EEPROM emulator, but it had some nifty features in there. It had a back channel so that you could print back to the PC. So that was very valuable. But it also had a statistical analysis thing so that you could sample where it was running the code for profiling. And that was pretty useful. So I'm not complete Luddite when it comes to debugging technology. I think this is working. Now, how long am I making my shots? I'm a little bit, I think I've got my shots are too long. And then that means that the intervals between the enemies firing at me are too long as well. So I'm just going to reduce the I'm using the ship shot lifetime for everything, actually. It's 135 at the moment. Let's try 60 and see what that looks like. Probably not very good. Oh, too short now. I think it needs to be able to go across the screen. Yeah, that's too short. So we're going to try, say, 120, 2 seconds. No, it was C#, because Kickoff Revival was unfortunately, I did that with Unity. I wish I had never done that. Should never have used Unity. This effectively means that I need to rewrite the entire. If I want to revive Kickoff Revival, I need to rewrite the whole thing. Because I'm tied into a. I mean, if I had written it in C++, I'd be in a much better position. So they got the C# issue, but then there's also the problem that it's tied to the, to Unity, and Unity don't support. They never make things backward compatible, and that means I can't actually update it on the consoles, and it's just not even worth it. It would cost me more to do an update to Kickoff Revival than, well, I mean, I've never got any royalties for Kickoff Revival. I never recouped any of the advances. I never will. Sony Advanced put the advances in, which were not. It was a small amount of money, really, but it kept me going for a couple of years. But there's absolutely, if you think about it, there's absolutely no incentive for a platform that has a huge number of games. I'm doing a bit of play testing now, by the way. I am working. There is not much incentive for a platform that has a huge number of games on it to, allow a back catalogue of games that didn't recoup, to allow them to recoup. Because then once they've recouped, then Sony is, whoever it is, are going to have to start paying money out. So there's very little incentive. And so you just know that they're not going to recoup. It doesn't matter what you do, unless suddenly you became a viral hit. You are not going to recoup anything. So to update the game for PlayStation, it makes absolutely no business sense at all, because I haven't got any royalties from all of the sales for the game. They will go back to Sony for reclaiming the advance. Such is the way it works. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I think I'm going to have more fun reviving other games than reviving, it's like the way it is. So anyway, I kind of remember them being a lot more vicious than this. But it could be that it was a psychological trick, in that, I think 2 seconds is fine. Psychological trick in that when you're doing this and you're not playing the game, you kind of notice how poor their aiming is. But when you are actually playing the game, your focus is elsewhere, and then they seem to be very mean. That's the way that I remember it. Yeah, I agree. I got sucked into Unity about around 2011 or so, 2010, 2011. In the end, it sucked all of the joy of game development out of me. I think Kickoff Revival was the final straw, trying to develop on a PC, on PlayStation, and the Vita as well. Well, what was the point of that? You know, I ended up having to have 4 different versions of Unity to support the different platforms, because there are different states of development, and I will never do that again. I think Unreal, I'm not saying I would never use an engine again. I think you kind of have to, but I think I would use Unreal next time. I've been using Unreal for the last 2 years. Maybe one hope would be if there's a way of translating C# into C, or if I can find a lightweight C# virtual environment, you know, virtual machine that I could run the C# code in. I don't know. Yeah, Mike, that's true. Where did you read that? That is actually a true story. You must have read it in one interview or something, but that's exactly right. In the woodworking metalwork lab thing that we had at the school, they had those kind of classes in there, and I had a friend who was name was Miles, and he built the frame for it, and also got from, I think it's from the work his father did, I'm not sure, but it was a coin slot. We originally made our own coin slot, but you know what, the way this was a clever little device is you put the money in, and you could put in any amount of any change, and there were little electrical contacts that detected as it rolled down a slope which coin you'd put in, and it would add up the amount until you put in the amount that was needed, and that was it. And that was how it worked at first. So what people did was they took the metal ruler that they used in there and shoved it in the hole so it would make contact on it and just make a bunch of... So this was right from the start, you know. What we did was we got a proper coin op mechanism and put it in there, and started using that. And yeah, we raised £40 for a project that way. There were queues of students waiting to play this game. They would go they would queue up at lunchtime. But if this seems strange, you have to remember this was 1980-ish, and in 1980, a video game like this wasn't something so commonplace. There were arcade machines, but they were difficult to get to, and you know, well, it was a bit of a novelty, and I loved that. And that was this game, Letteroids. Yes. DIV, what's that? Excuse my ignorance, Mike. I'm interested to know what that is. DIV. I don't know. I no idea. So there we go. Yeah, well, look, he just hit me twice and 3 times. Did you see that? It's. I just got hit 3 times. So what I need to do now is make it so that the enemies, when they shoot me, they blow me up. So let's try that. I need to turn on the thing again. So enemy behavior. And then we can do on here, blah, blah, somewhere down here I had the, oh no, not the fire shot. It was something else. There's fire shot. It was the, update, I need update shots. And then that's the one. Oh, wow, that sounds interesting. And you ported it to modern platforms. I'd love to take a look at that. Let me see if I can find some information on that. That sounds like fun. Because that's what this business is, you know, it's a business of fun. DIV, I've got a bunch of football stuff come up. The home of Div Game Studio. So I found the right place, Div Arena. Oh, this is, oh, look at that. This is your stuff. After many years of being lost, the original backup of divarena.co.uk has been found. I'll have to check that out. Nice stuff. The language was based on Pascal C. Instead of linear programming, you would write processes which were sort of interrupt-driven mini programs that would interact with each other. That sounds very interesting indeed. That's even more interesting. It had Mode 7, Mario Kart style, 3D, Doom style, 3 pixel perfect graphics. I'll probably make a kickoff clone in a day. Steady on. The original took me 15 months. Yeah, in a day. Well, actually, you know, we just give it to ChatGPT. It can make the game in a day. Wow, that sounds interesting. Exciting stuff. Maybe we'll have a go sometime on the stream. I'm interested in the in the language attribute thing that you were talking about there. You know, the interrupt-driven sort of thing. That sounds very interesting. Anyway, back to this. Will they shoot me? No. Oh, I can shoot them. No? No, the shooting doesn't work. Why not? kill enemy. Which letter? Potential collision. Oh, I had another debug line in. Let's try this. No, they can't shoot me yet, but I can shoot them. And they can shoot each other. Well, all right, so we're getting there. They can shoot each other, but they can't shoot me. You can't shoot me. You're just a big panda. Kill enemy. When the collision occurs from updating a shot hits an enemy, it kills the enemy. A shot hits a ship, it should kill the ship. So which letter? I'm not sure that's the right comment. Shot index, enemies index, it's which enemy? I suppose I could check all of the sprites, couldn't I? Because I've got the similar check here. The number of enemies, or what's the order I have things in? I can't remember now. Let's have a look. We have the letters start at 0. The ship index comes. The ship comes after. Oh, right. I have the letters, the ship, and then the enemies. So I could just extend it a little further and have the enemies. Extend it a little further in that loop. I start with the enemies and I move back until but I need to think about that. I should think so. I should think it'd be running at 50 FPS. So my problem I have here is I was thinking of extending the, well, I could do something that's really gnarly and go back from this loop where it goes back to SU5, which was here. Decrement Y, branch if plus, SU5. I want it to go back one more. So it goes back through the enemies and one more, because the enemies are next to the ship. So I go back to a negative index and I'm on the ship. And I can do that. I can do the decrement Y here, then transfer Y to A. And I mean, you know, I'm running out of memory. So transfer Y to A, and I need to then do a clear carry, add with carry, immediate one, branch if plus SU5. I just mark this is continue to -1, which is the ship. I think that will work. It's actually going to potentially hit the ship. And then when I do the kill an enemy, before I do that, I need to check if I've killed the ship. So ship shot, it's shot hitched Greek letter. So here I need to know which one of those it is. So the Y, I need to check if Y is the ship. So what we do for that is transfer Y to A, and let's go on here. Is it the ship? Actually, it is the ship. If it is negative, I'm putting really hacky stuff in here, but that means that I can do branch if plus around some code for detecting the ship. Yeah, is that hacky enough? For a Thursday, anything can happen Thursday evening. I don't know. SU6 and .SU6, and then we there .SU6. But that's the thing about this, is you can make it as hacky as you like when you're having fun. I am now collided with ship, theoretically. Jump halt. We'll test this out. We'll see first of all if everything still works despite my hack. It does seem to be, and didn't detect collision with the ship. So for debugging purposes, what we can do is, oh, crasheroony. That'd be a real crash. We don't see them very often on the stream. So I guess my hacking around, yeah. Decrement Y, transfer Y to A, clear carry, add with carry, immediate 1, branch if plus SU5. That was very hacky. Do I need one more offset or two? I think I need one, because the ship, the enemies come after the ship. So in theory, that should be fine. In theory, that should work. Transfer Y to A. Oh, I think I'm got a pull A here. Which means there was a push A somewhere up there. PHA, where did I do the PHA? Oh, push A, pull A. Oh, it's just around the clear shot. So that's fine. Push A, pull A around the clear shot, no problem. That's a shame that didn't work. That PLA at SU6 I don't need. Oh, you might be right. Where did it come from then? Oh, you're perfect. You're right. You nailed it. Thank you. That PLA was a stray PLA for no reason. Thanks, Mike. I think this I will do like this. And then that PLA, and that would explain the crash and the eventual crash, because it was corrupting the corrupting the stack. But I don't know whether that's fixed the shooting. No, I don't think it is. What we can do then is just check if there is a detected collision with anything. Potential collision. At this point, we increment a value at our favorite on-screen debugging location, 8800. That gets incremented every time there's a detected potential collision. Not really that helpful, as there are potential collisions all the time. Potential collision. Shots index, blah, 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 blah. I want to know if it collided with the ship. It doesn't think it did. When we decrement y and y becomes -1, I'm an idiot. The problem is, it's true that, you know, y is technically -1, but of course it isn't -1. It's unsigned. It's 255, so it's going to jump way, way ahead. Talk about naive. No, that won't work. What I can do is this, which is the same idea but done properly, is to create a maybe, hang on. Numshots +1. It's like also check ship. And then what we have here are what I said was the shots index, no, the enemies index. I'm going to make a note here. Work with ship index, assuming that enemies follow the ship in index. So what we then do is go through and look for the word enemies, which is here. We can go enemies. That's num enemies. Jeez. This is the wrong place. Not there. We want it here. So -1 +1, or we do +1 -1. The -1 is because it's one. We start from one less than the number. The +1 is to indicate that we're also checking the ship, and we work with the ship index instead of the enemies. So we go enemies index becomes ship index, and then enemies index becomes ship index. And now we should be good. I don't think it appears again. Done here. At least the shots. It doesn't appear that many places. We're only looking at the coordinates of the thing, so I think we're fine. And then I get rid of that little hack that I had down here. Decrement Y branch of plus. Just double check that. Yeah, we don't need that there. And this does the same thing. So I'm relying on the fact that the ship and the enemies follow each other. And then I start with the enemies. I go back down to the ship. And the result is hopefully it's a funny thing if you use that hopefully thing, that will be bigclive.com does that, but I've always used to do that as well, so it's a funny thing. I'm just dying all over the place. What's going on? Concentrate. Well, that's weird. Something died, but it didn't die. Something died, but it didn't die. Hell breaks loose again. Could check this by reducing the enemies to 1 or 2 and limiting the checks. I could indeed. I think I've got 2 enemies and 1 ship, but it never reached this halt, and I probably just got something else that I didn't adjust with this. So let's run through it. Shot index, sprite, flag, disable collisions, blah blah blah. This is all dealing with the shots. Potential collisions. Check if they're out of bounds. And shots index. We get the ship index, comma Y, where Y was set to 2 here. Okay. Shot index. Shot index minus ship index. Okay. Do we have a collision? Check. If the collision was negative, that's actually no longer true. It should be branch if not equal. It's now 0, not negative. So that was a little bug there, a little buggette. Shot index. Transfer A to Y. Kill enemy. Because bad things might happen if it actually didn't realize that it was. There we are. I need to see. I'm going to remove the halt. That was a halt because it did actually collide with the ship. I'm just going to comment that out. No, I can't comment it out. I need to jump. I'm going to ignore it. So can I RTS? I don't have anything on the stack. I can. I'll just do an RTS here. So what it will do is ignore. Try again. It should ignore it if it hits me. I'm dying all over the place. Should ignore it if it hits me, but I'm just checking that otherwise the functionality is correct. No, it isn't. They're not dying. That's a bit weird. Why are they not dying? Why are they not dying anymore? Because the index is wrong. The index now starts from. This is the problem you get with these shenanigans. When you do these shenanigans, what we have is that I have to remember that the index that's in Y is now from the ship and not from the first enemy. So when we've detected that it was a collision with the ship, we're currently ignoring it, but then otherwise it hits the Greek letter, we have to compensate for mixing ship and enemies together. So this is where's the Y used here? Transfer Y to A. Right. Transfer Y to A. Clear carry. Oh, increment Y. I don't need to do all of that. I can just do inc Y. Ini. So this increment Y, that's what that is for. Let's put this here so it's really clear. And then kill the enemy. Let's see. Will they kill each other? Oh, nearly died there. Right. Or can I kill them? Oh. I'm not sure. No, this doesn't sound good. I got more. Okay, it's still wrong. So the problem I've got is that when the enemy's killed, it is not dealing with it properly. Yeah, we clear the shot and we kill the enemy, and for killing the enemy I need the enemy index in Y, and the enemy index is wrong way round, decrement Y. The enemy index is going to be one too many because I added the ship's added at the beginning of this, then there. Yes, okay, let's try again. Oh, CPU does not support this. What did I do? 941 dec what? It should be day. Decrement Y. Okay, try that again. All right, that's working now. We've got. I saw them shoot each other. Come on, I want to hit one. Oh, I missed. Try again. Oh, I missed again. They weren't easy. They're not easy to hit, and it's harder because there's lag. There's zero lag in the original game, but here I'm playing with, like, you know, probably 30 millisecond lag. Day. Thanks, Mike. So that's good. And now what we do is we put back the check for the halt, or check for the ship getting shot. So now if the ship is shot, assuming it hasn't crashed into there, the ship was shot, it detected it, and it's halted. So now we can kill the ship. Now I hope I have somewhere in here, destroy, explode sprite, kill enemy, kill ship. What did I call it? Kill ship. I have a kill ship function, which looks like it does everything it should. So let's search for my ats that I just put in. There we go. Who needs, you want tagging? You just do that. JSR kill ship. JSR. Kill ship. RTS. Is it RTS or do I move on to the next shot? Yeah, it shouldn't be an RTS. It should move on to the next shot, which is... I'm just thinking about how I can... I suppose we could do this. Next shot. And instead of then saying, you know, jump to no collision, you just jump to next shot. I suppose that makes sense. Anyway, let's have a... Yeah, that was a little unfortunate, wasn't it? It just kept on. Why? Oh, because I didn't clear the shots. If I don't clear the shots, then it's just going to continue colliding with the ship. The shot should actually check if the ship is still alive or not, actually, technically, but... Come on. Yeah, don't shoot each other, shoot me. Here it comes. Oh. Clear shot. Where, how does it know which shot to clear? Scorpion engine? Tell me about the new engine. There's a new engine. Trust in me, just in me. With those eyes going like this. You know, from the Jungle Book, in case you're wondering. Being hypnotised by the latest engine. Right. Yes, I think it is indeed something like that, or clear shot is, or I need to know what clear shot takes, which I don't remember. Sprites. X is the index. So when I do... How does it know? Oh, because it's here. It's the X. Clear the shot. It should be fine. It does. Oh, no, you're right. You're right again. You're right again. It's because I don't exit the function anymore. I continue with the loop and then it, yeah, all right. So let's try transfer X to A, push A. And then pull A and then transfer A to X, which will do for now. So I'm preserving the X register. I think when I kill the ship. No. Yes, when I kill the ship. But it could also be the clear shot as well. Although I suspect it doesn't. Ah, it has to preserve it itself. Yeah. Let's give that a go. New game engine for the Amiga. I see. Are you going to shoot me, please? Come on. It did it twice. The kill ship didn't make the ship disappear. It should have done. Kill ship should have made the ship disappear. So we've got still some kind of little problemo. Not sure what the problemo is. Oh, don't collide with the ship if the ship is dead. Would be a good piece of advice. Is the ship dead? So if we collide with a dead ship, we clear the shot. But if we collide with a dead ship, we don't try to kill the ship again, because if we do, then we'll end up with a ship stuck on the screen. It'll undo the undoing of the ship. We'll do a load a immediate, no, a load a sprites flags plus ship index and immediate sprufler disable branch if not equal next shot, kill ship. Okay, try this again now. I'm doing a JSR. Why is that a no? Oh, okay. 973. Target out of range. 973. Branch shift plus SU1. I'm beginning to sound like people on the show UFO from the 1960s for some reason. I don't know why. SU7. Dot SU7. Come in, please. Branch if minus jump dot whatever it was, which I've forgotten. Compared to SU1. Okay, so we do jump dot SU1. What a palaver. Great show. Yeah, I watched it all a few years ago, a couple of years ago. I watched the whole series. Now, one of the things that's a bit of trivia about the show UFO, if you happen to like Nick Drake, who I consider to be, you know, he's one of the finest songwriters who ever lived. Nick Drake, that was amazing. Well, his sister was a star in the UFO series. Gabrielle Drake. So there you go. A little bit of. It was weird because you could see the family resemblance between her and Nick Drake, who unfortunately passed away. I think he's in the 27 Club or whatever. He died in his in the 80s, in his 20s, which was sad. Because he was really, when we talk about the ineffable, he was the master of the ineffable. He could conjure up the ineffable. I mean, you know, there's like some of his songs has got like, When the Day Is Done, one of his songs, When the Day Is Done, and there's a line in it about when the game is through. No. Basically, when the game's been fought, you lost much sooner than you would have thought. Newspaper blown across the court. But the point is that the newspaper blown across the court, I can practically smell. It's the smell of it. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, when you listen to it in the song, it's so evocative that you almost start. It's very difficult to describe. There are sometimes lines in songs that do that. I'm going way off topic here, but there's sometimes lines in songs that do that. I mean, Joni Mitchell was another one who could do that. There was the line in a song that's sort of got the vibe of like French cafe about it. And it's got the line, "She walked in sideways like a cat." Which sounds a bit weird, but in fact, I know exactly. It's perfect. That's what cats do. They sort of, it's that thing, you see a cat and you always see a cat from the side. You know, it's like, she walked in sideways like a cat. It's genius. The ineffable. But anyway, I shall get back to where I was at. There's some, we can have some debate about whether that was healthy or not. Are you going to kill me? Come on, fire at me. Come on. Oh, you missed me. Shoot. It got me. No, I hit the letter I think. When the game's being fought. Newspaper blown across the court. Lost much sooner than you would have thought. When the game's being fought. That's just what's the newspaper blowing across the court got to do with anything? But it's perfect. Are you going to shoot? Ah, right. I got shot. I think it's beginning to work. So can I shoot them? I think I can, and they can shoot me. Well, that's the case. Then the game's on, right? Oh, that's a little bit unfair. Ooh. Can I shoot them without them shooting me? I got one. Oh, it's getting exciting. Whoa! Oh, missed. So there was always this strategy. There we go. I shot them. All right, let's have another go. Ooh, that was close. Oh. That's it. And then I can go back to... So what would happen is that you get this pattern. You get this pattern that you go into the rhythm of refueling, and you're given time in between the refueling where there are no enemies. And then the enemy creeps on from the top of the screen and starts to come down. So initially, that band that's at the top, this area where I'm flying the ship right now, along there, that's a safe zone. There are two reasons for that being a safe zone. Well, there's one reason really. It's a safe zone because I need to draw the score up there, and I didn't want to clip, so I just draw the things and I just disabled collision detection there, basically. But then what I found was that when I did that, this actually becomes part of the game, because when the Greek letter appears, it appears from the top, and the moment it appears, it's not actually, you can't shoot it because it's in the safe zone. So you have a little bit of time to figure that out. I can't remember if I think I would have made it so that the Greek letter couldn't shoot when it was in that zone either. It was only when it gets out of the zone then it can start shooting at you. But I don't know. I'd have to look at the original game. So yeah, let's have another go at that. I'm going to actually turn on, let's see, because this is now, you know, we need to put waves in there as well, you know, they need to be, the levels get more difficult. But right now we've got, you know, this would be difficult with two enemies on the screen shooting at you at the same time. So what I'm going to try to do is turn on the fuel bar and see if I can complete the level. We can say that it's now a game. I mean, I've got more to do, but it is actually got all the gameplay ingredients in there. handle fuel. So if I remove that comment, I will now die immediately. Now, I think part of the problem is that... I don't know. I was wondering if it was the seeded random number generator. But here we go. Can you see that line at the top there is getting shorter and shorter? Wait, one of them shot the other. But if I don't refuel before the line is out, I die. So I have a limited amount of time to refuel. And I'm also being shot at. So let's see if I can start refueling. I missed him. He's trying to shoot me. And you can see it starts getting complicated. I died off screen. Probably shouldn't have died off screen. But, yeah, I mean, maybe I got shot off screen. It shouldn't be possible, but I haven't put that code in yet. So what do I do? Do I go after him or do I go... I'm going to refuel, okay, which now I've got more time. And come around for a... No. Come around for a shot. You see, it's dangerous to be close to the... And there we are. That was the classic thing it would do. It's like and it felt like it was clever because I'd started doing this arc like that, and it sort of says, okay, fire and shoot. But it's an illusion. You're so distracted by what's going on that you only notice it when it succeeds in shooting you. Oh, I messed up that refuel. I don't know if did I refuel? I don't know. I was right on the edge. Now I don't know if I should go for the B, you see, because no. Okay, where's the B? I'm nearly out. B. Oh, no. I just missed the B. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, I nearly died on the H. I've got the A. Right, here we go. Oh. Okay, it's exactly how I remember it. Got him. Okay, and so now you can now finish off. Let's see if I can complete the level. I have to come around here and get the E. I think the letters are not moving as fast as they should be at this point. There's something else going on there. F, G. And then when you complete the letters, that's when it's the end of the level. And you can start with the next level. That's it. Thanks, Scott. And the thing was that you could then also choose to try and get a high score. You would try and kill as many of the enemies as possible. So you would take your time. You take your time over refueling, because you'd want to try and kill as many enemies as you can before you got to the next. Ow! I'm not sure exactly why I died there, but you want to kill as many enemies as you can before getting onto the next level that would be harder, and then you would be getting also extra lives on the score. And so it became strategic. Yeah, exactly. So I've got tuning to do. Right, now this was a classic where you get two letters together and they start looking. Are they the letter A or two? And did I do the letter A yet? And I well, because this looked like the A, but you have to remember. You would find that you would forget which was the last letter that you had refueled. You wouldn't be sure, and you need to be sure about it, because if you get it wrong, then you will die. I nearly died there. Nearly shot me. Oh, and I would have crashed into the letter and died. I haven't put that in yet. Oh, free fuel. Oh, jeez. Okay, that's fine. And then C. Okay, let's see if D. No. D, right. Where's E? That was D. E must be off screen. I haven't done E yet, have I? There's E. And that's where the bit at the top where it's blind becomes part of the gameplay that you don't know. It's like, I'm sure I did E. Where's E? Is it? You're waiting for it. Ah, like J. Where's J? J's over there. Yeah. Coming together. I. And we are. Look at that. Yeah, that feels good. I think that's a great place to leave it for tonight. What's left to do? I need to put the score in. I need to put the waves of difficulty. I need to tune it. High score, getting extra lives when you reach different number of points. And but yeah, it's getting there. And thanks a lot. That'd be a really nice stream tonight. You've been very communicative, which is great. Mike, we'll set up that thing so that you can also, and anybody, we can have other people contributing to the project, and we will release it. We will release it for the ACORN Atom community. And that will be a recreation of this game as it used to be. I can do the sequels later. Yeah, lots of stuff. Good, feels good. Take care, everybody. And right on midnight as well. Look at that. Amazing. Take care. Cheers.